Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Time for the coffee chat show. Good morning, everybody. We will wait until notifications go out, catch up with the fact that we are live and online. Oh, that's hot. There we go. Here we come. Here comes our audience. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, everybody. We are live and online. It's time for the coffee chat show. It's a little chilly up here this morning. What is this? Our second, good morning, Heather. Our second Saturday in October. I almost just said July. Hi, Alicia. It's not July. It's October. Clearly, I need some more coffee. All right, so it's been a busy week with work. I don't know about you guys, but I almost didn't want to do the show this morning because it's just been, I feel like my life was one long Zoom this week. Hello, Dodie. Good morning, Shanna. Yeah, so busy week. I don't know how the week was for you guys. I'm guessing probably busy as well. Hi, Stephanie, Krista. So, couple things before we jump in. For those of you that are new to Coffee Chat, welcome to the Coffee Chat show. We do this every Saturday morning. This is my give back. I am the CEO of Delta Hire and the Director of Project Management for Bryn Law. Good morning, Lynn Marie. And I also own a small boutique consulting company. This is what I do for fun. I talk to you guys on Saturday morning and try to help. So it's like a live class every Saturday morning. Work-wise, I had my first byline in Forbes this week. So I'd love it if you guys went over and read that. I'm a member of the Human Resources Council for Forbes. And as I said, in my work life, I'm the CEO of Delta Hire, which is a workforce solutions company. And I speak a lot on corporate culture and how to pour into your employees and how to treat your employees correctly. And I train leaders, all those kinds of things. So very much in the world of work, in my work. And first byline in Forbes, I would love it if you went over there and read it. So if you just go to Forbes.com and you search my name, Noelle Federico, you will come up with the byline. And actually, they used another quote of mine this week as well. And you can find me on LinkedIn also, and you can follow me on LinkedIn, Noelle Federico, where I'm always commenting on, for those of you that are in management or leadership or in companies or you have your own company, often and always actually commenting on leadership, workforce development, culture development, treating people correctly, equity and diversity, all those fun business topics. And you can also visit me on Facebook at revealingleaders.com, which is the business side, the business page. Okay, so again, would love it if you went over to Forbes.com, searched my name, and read the article, the byline. It's good for you guys to understand the whole scope of what I do. There's Tracy popping up the link. Okay, perfect. So let's jump into you guys and how I can help you this week. So we talked last week about not judging anything by the way that it looks, not living in a reaction, responding in the present, not reacting to the past. All that is caught up with how you feel. How you feel in any moment is the point and level at which you attract. So back in March, we took the emotional scale and we made a version of it, and it's in the free download section of our site. So if you go to theworkingwarriormom.com and you click free stuff and you scroll down to coffee chat notes, it's the second thing there. It's called the emotional scale. Christy, good morning. So it starts out, the highest place on the emotional scale that you can be is joy. And the lowest place that you can be is fearful, in despair, in grief, and feeling powerless. wherever you show up on the scale is where you're pulling things to you. That's your attraction point. So I often say you are like a radiator, and you are radiating out how you feel. So if you're in fear, you are putting out a fear vibe, for lack of a better word, a fear energy, and that is your attraction point. So you are actually bringing into yourself more things to be fearful about. If you are feeling unworthy, you are radiating out your unworthiness, and you are radiating out your unworthiness, and you are attracting in at that level. If you are doubtful, you're radiating out at that level, you're attracting in at that level, like that. Good morning, Dolly. Good morning, Lisa. So however you feel is what you end up pulling in. And if you are practicing and doing, let's just say you're reading, you're doing affirmations, you're doing all this stuff to try to forward the action of your life and get from here to where you want to be, but you feel shitty, or you feel worried, or you feel fearful, meanwhile you're doing all the actions, your feeling is not matching up with the actions, you will not be able to produce the result that you want. How you feel sits over everything. So if you feel discouraged, disappointed, overwhelmed, and you're spending plenty of time, like I said, saying affirmations, reading books, doing whatever, it's not like it doesn't matter. It does. However, you will not pull in quickly what you desire, because what you are pulling in is coming to you based on how you feel. The idea and the trick and the methodology is to raise your vibration. So Gabby Bernstein talks about this, Wayne Dyer talks about this, Abraham Hicks talks about this, the Law of Attraction talks about this. This is out there in lots of different places. So you can find backup on all this in a lot of different venues, avenues, schools of thought. The Law of Attraction says that whatever your vibe is where you're attracting in. So wherever your feeling is, however you're feeling, that's what you're pulling in. I feel like we can't belabor this point enough. I don't think people really understand how this works. Because if they did, you could just have the life that you always wanted. What you would have to do is be vigilant at schooling yourself on, how you feel. You would have to be vigilant in changing the way you feel and being responsible about the way you feel and doing something about that and changing it and being willing to raise your vibration. Thank you, Mary. Mary's saying she loves the new book. The new edition of Practical Change is out. It is on Amazon. Christy's asking, so fake it till you make it doesn't really work. Well, the real idea of fake it till you make it, Christy, as was taught by my mom, the fake it till you make it is get in the feeling. And that's what she meant. So yes, it does work. You have to really feel into that. So let's say that you wake up and you're not excited and enthusiastic at all, and you are going to, in essence, fake it till you make it. So you're going to generate some enthusiasm to go forward into the day. Faking enthusiasm until you get to enthusiasm really requires you getting yourself to feel enthusiastic. So getting excited and feeling enthusiastic and pushing that into yourself to get yourself there, that's fake it till you make it, but in getting yourself there, in saying I'm just going to generate enthusiasm and make it up just because I said so, you actually get to enthusiasm, and then you're there, and then you're attracting at that level. So for those of you that read the first book, Practical Change Volume 2, actually, so the second book, the first book was written many moons ago, like in 2007. My mom put me through a training exercise. My whole life was a training. My mother was an excellent trainer of warriors and leaders. So it was Christmas time. I wanted to go to the mall with my friends. I was about 14 years old. She wanted me to wrap gifts with her before she would let me go to the mall. I was not happy about that. I wanted to just go to the mall with my friends. We had in our house in Massachusetts a swinging door between her office and the kitchen. This is where I learned how to make something up, how to generate a feeling, how to generate a vibration, and just invent it and make it up. And this is where I learned that you absolutely can do that. So just picture a belligerent 14-year-old teenage girl who does not want to help her mother wrap presents, who just wants to go to the mall. And she says, until you can wrap these presents with enthusiasm, you can't go to the mall with your friends. So she says, go into the kitchen, come back into the office, enthusiastic and happy to wrap the presents. Okay, here we go. I go into the kitchen, I come into the office, and I'm like, okay, yay, I'm happy to. She says, no pass. That's not real enthusiasm. You're not generating real enthusiasm. And I say, I'm not enthusiastic. I'm mad at you. I don't want to do this. And she says, you can make it up just like that. You can make up how you feel out of nothing. You can create how you feel based on nothing, out of nothing, no matter what. I'm 14, so I'm like, okay. I go back into the kitchen. This goes on for 2 hours. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She goes, no pass, do it again, no pass, do it again. I'm not kidding. This goes on for 2 hours. I am angry. Through the course of the 2 hours, I get to anger, sadness. I go through this entire emotional scale. I'm not even kidding. The entire thing. Except for, well, I wasn't fearful at the bottom. I was definitely in despair and feeling powerless. Until finally, I came through that door enthusiastic. And it was true. I accessed it out of nothing just because, and I got the message. And in all honesty, that was one of the most profound moments of my life and my training at 14 years old with this woman. Her goal was to teach me exactly what she taught me, which was you can make it up out of nothing just because you said so. You don't need any evidence. You don't need anything because you're making it all up anyway, all the time, no matter what. I don't think I think very few people really understand that. And going back to last week, I think some of you think that, when you get a piece of mail or when you look at your checkbook balance or when something's happening in your life, you react to that. And then you get into whatever emotion that thing caused. If it's a low checkbook balance, maybe it caused fearfulness. If it is some kind of a message from a friend that you didn't like, it might have caused you to be disappointed or doubtful or blaming them or discouraged or angry or jealous or pessimistic or bored, whatever the case may be. You have the ability to transform yourself in any moment. I don't think people really understand that is possible. if you really understood that you can transform yourself in any moment just because you said so, your whole life would be different from this moment forward. Your whole life would be different because you would understand that how you feel is not based on what is around you or the circumstances or the people or the places. How you feel is based on you and what you decide. You are the one that responds to whatever the stimuli is. That's on you. You can choose to respond to something valiantly, violently. You can choose to be hurt, in despair, excited, enthusiastic. It's your choice. You can't control what comes into your world. You can very much control how you feel and how you respond to that. Good morning, Stevie. Nice to see you. I feel like if you really understood what I'm saying, if it really sunk in, you would get that you could, in fact, be joyful and enthusiastic in every moment just because you said so. You're just making it up. You can make it up any way you want. Because the truth is, those outside things don't have power over you. The power lies right here. You are the one that is authoring your life. Not me, not Tracy, not Abram Hicks, not the law of attraction. You are, yes, Practical Change Volume 2 is the Slaying Dragons version, Trace. It's also on Amazon. You are the one that's authoring your life. Only you. You get to decide how you feel in every moment, how you respond to what's happening to you. Your emotions are well under your control. Okay, Millie's really trying to understand and get what I'm saying. All right, let me see if I can help Millie. Okay, let's just take an example of you have a person in your life. They come to your house and they are behaving in a particular way. They are speaking and saying something that you don't particularly like. Perhaps they've insulted you or they've been rude or whatever. Okay, so you have somebody, they come over, they behave in a way that you don't like. If you are reacting, you might get angry, you might get hurt, you might feel triggered, you might feel disappointed, you might feel annoyed. That's all your choice. They didn't do that to you. You did. You choose how you feel. You could choose to just ask them to leave or forgive them or try to find out what's really going on with them because they are, behaving this way. So that's how you respond to the stimuli in your life is up to you. I saw, Millie, that you just said you're overwhelmed at work. So let's talk about that one. So you're at work and you're feeling overwhelmed, which is, which can be the case for a lot of us, right? There's stuff coming at you. There's stuff going on. You feel like you can't keep up. You feel like you can't catch up. That, again, is up to me. Up to you. We could have a whole desk filled with stuff and a whole calendar filled with stuff. And we get to choose how we respond to that. Oftentimes, the overwhelm and the feeling dumped on and all that is our inability to set clear boundaries. It's our inability to say, no, thank you. No, thank you. no thank you, I'm not taking that call, I've got this other stuff to do, or no thank you, I'm going to lunch for an hour, all this stuff will still be here when I get back. Usually overwhelm and, again, feeling dumped on, all those kinds of things are about us not setting clear boundaries. So that's an excellent place to start in your response versus reaction to stuff, right? Is setting clear boundaries. It goes right back to why you put the oxygen mask on your face first on a plane if you're traveling with children, because you can't help anyone else if you're dead. In the same fashion, you can't function optimally if you never set boundaries and you never say no. People will usually ask for and take whatever they can. They don't care because they're operating out of their own whatever. So they're going to ask, take, dump, give you, assign. It's up to us to say, no, thank you. 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 That's on you. You can choose to feel peaceful in any moment. That's your choice. I saw Christy said something about grief is a trigger and memories are a trigger. Again, a choice. You could have somebody leave you or break up a relationship or walk out on you. How you respond to that is up to you. It really is. And I'm not in any of this, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel what you feel. Okay? So let's just talk about somebody leaving or breaking up a relationship or whatever. Yes, that feels like shit. And there's sadness there, and there's a lot of feelings that come with that. So feel the feelings and process them, and then come out of that, move out of that. Don't live there. Don't make a home there. Don't make a nest there. Don't wallow. As soon as possible, choose the next highest feeling that you can get to. That's what Gabby Bernstein says in some of her books. She says, choose the next best thought. And I think that's a great way to look at it. And when I'm feeling a particular way, her words ring in my head, and I think to myself, okay, what's the next best thought I can get to? By the way, if you can see here, grief is at the bottom. Anger is actually higher than grief. Disappointed is higher than anger. So in the example of someone leaving or breaking off a relationship or behaving in a way that you don't like, you can get yourself out of the grief, into anger about it, into disappointment, then annoyed, then you go up, right? So you're not going to jump from grief to joy. It's just not going to happen. You're going to be able to probably raise yourself one or two emotions at a time. Millie's saying that, back to her thing about work, she's saying she's feeling resentful and stressed out. Her job changed. So Millie, these are feelings that you're having that are your choice to have. So feeling stressed out and resentful is a choice. You can solve the stressed out by setting boundaries and saying what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And the resentment you can transform into something else. Resentment is usually, there's anger under there or disappointment. So you could, to really have a twist on the situation, you could start to find some gratitude in the situation. So if you're really in an angry, shitty place, the quickest way I find out of that is to start just being grateful. Just find some things that you can be grateful for and start to raise yourself up like that. When we're overwhelmed, stressed out, and all of that, it's really easy to say that that's someone else's fault and play the blame game with that stuff. However, the truth is, we're adults. We have to stand up for ourselves. We have to decide what's okay and what's not okay. And at the end of the day, if you're stuck in a situation or a job where where your boundaries aren't going to be respected, or nobody is really hearing you when you are saying no, like that's also a personal choice, right? You have to decide if that's the right place for you or not. We are responsible for our own agenda. We are responsible for what goes on here. I feel like you can always try to get to the next highest feeling, right? If you go from grief and despair, you'll notice that feeling unworthy and insecure is higher than grief and despair. And then there's like jealous, enraged, angry, discouraged, blaming people. So even blaming people is higher than grief. And then, you can go concerned, doubtful, disappointed, overwhelmed, annoyed. They're not great feelings, but they're better than despair. So understand you're most likely not going to go from despair to euphoric joy like in an instant. Probably not going to happen. Some of us can do that. I've been practicing this stuff since I was 12. I'm 54. So I've had, many decades of pushing myself to change. Stevie, yes. We, back in March of 2022, we took an emotional scale that it's all over the place. Law of Attraction has a version. A lot of different people have a version. We made a Revealing Leaders version. I slightly changed some of the topics, some of the emotions. It is on the Working Warrior Mom site under free downloads. And Tracy also dropped the link inside the comments. So if you just go back and look in the comments, you'll find the link to the emotional scale. We adapted it from, the standard one that's all over the internet, and we just put it together with I tend to say some of these emotional labels more than ones that other people use, so we changed it a little bit. And we just put it out as a free downloadable. So really your task for this week, if you want one, is keep assessing where you are on the scale and see if you can get to the next highest feeling. In the words of Gabby Bernstein, check your where you are and see if you can get to a higher feeling. See if you can get to the next higher feeling. See if you can push yourself to another level that's a little bit higher than where you are now. I think she says choose the next best thought. So choose a better thought in the moment. So maybe if you're in grief, you could choose to be angry instead. And then once you're angry, you could get into maybe disappointment, which disappointment is like 5 levels on the scale above anger. So as you start to work with choosing the next best thought, you'll see that the circumstances and experiences that you're pulling toward you will start to get better. And when we talk about, finishing the year strong and looking at how we get to the 2023 that you want to have and how we want to change and shift things for ourselves, we first have to look at where are you sitting. So last week's conversation was about not reacting to things in the moment and responding instead of reacting, and looking to see, how you're judging things. Never to judge things by the way they look, but to judge by your intention in the matter. And now we're on to let's look and see how you're feeling in every moment. Because if you're not even aware of how you feel and what your vibration is, then you're not going to be able to look at what you're pulling into your life and what you're attracting to yourself. So I encourage you to download this emotional scale and stick it up somewhere where you can see it, and at least 3 or 4 times a day check in with that and see where you are, right? See how you're feeling and see what is the next best feeling that you can have. choose the next best thought. Gabby Bernstein has a great book called Super Attractor. She talks a lot about this in there. She also has another great book, Faith Over Fear, which I read before and I'm just finishing again. I am constantly bringing this to my own awareness. Like, okay, what am I creating? What am I pulling in? How am I feeling? And how can I do better? When you stop asking yourself how you can do better and get sharper and what else you can learn, you know, the gig's over at that point. We always have to keep asking ourselves, what can I do better? I attract pretty much great stuff into my life. How can I do better? How can I do better? Wayne Dyer is great. Gabby Bernstein's great. Esther Hicks is great. Those are three great people that talk a lot about law of attraction stuff, a lot about, you know, getting yourself where you're vibing is where you're attracting. So they do a fantastic job. All three of them have lots of books. And I highly recommend delving into all three of them if you want to explore this more. How you can raise your vibration. Millie says she's feeling better. I'm glad, Millie. I'm glad we could help. All right, you guys, I have a lot of things to do today. So again, there was, I'm a member of the Forbes Human Resource Council. That is because I am the CEO of Delta Hire, which is a workforce development company, and I get to lead a staff of amazing people, and I'm constantly out there commenting on culture and how workplaces treat people and how we can do better with things like diversity and equity, and how companies can have better processes and procedures to treat folks better and have better values and all of that kind of stuff. So I would love it if you'd go over to Forbes.com and put in my name and read the byline. It's always good to show Forbes that we have lots of people that are happy to read things that I contribute. And it's good for you guys to see what I do in my real job. This is my give back. This is my love. I do this for you guys because I want to help. And I think that all of the things that I've learned in the last 54 years can be helpful. All right. So have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead. And go ahead and dig into Gabby Bernstein, Abram Hicks, Wayne Dyer. All those people have great stuff about law of attraction, raising your vibration, all of those things. All right. I'm going to say goodbye to the podcast folks here. You can visit us at theworkingwarrior.mom.com. You can find all the free downloads there. And we will see you next Saturday.